Hi, this is John from Two Doves Bees and Gardens. I want to welcome you to my bee yard. Hey, good morning. This is John from Two Doves Bees. This morning we're going to be transferring a honeybee swarm that we caught in one of our flowerpot swarm traps and put them into a 10 frame deep. And let me give you a view of what they currently look like. This is the swarm of bees, and you can see they're moving in and out of the flower pot right here. And we're going to be transferring them into a 10 frame deep. They've been in my yard since yesterday morning, and you can see they're still there and active. And we're going to give them some space and get them out of the flower pot. So hang on. Hey, this is John. Now you can see we're set up now. I've got one of my work tables out here, and you can see that we're kind of behind the flowerpot swarm trap, and we've got a cinder block there. And I'm going to go ahead and replace that cinder block and move a 10 frame hive into that place. And we're just going to move the bees from where they're currently sitting in that flowerpot swarm trap into a deep, and then we'll move that deep right in where the flower pot is. That way any field bees that are out right now can come back home and find where they're supposed to be. Just kind of cleaning up a few things here, and then we'll get started. I'm currently behind you, grabbing a 10 frame deep. It's got some comb, or some frames. It's got a little bit of comb, and let's put this into place. I always like to try and place the bees and then get their home where they're going to be in a situation right next to them, so that when I'm ready, all I have to do is move a few things around, and the bees will be almost like just like they're home, and they'll never even know that they were moved. Sort of, anyway. That's the idea. I'm moving this right next door, right up next to the flower pot. We'll take our lid off here. I may give myself a little more space. I'm trying to work within the distance of the cable that I'm tethered to here. Okay, we're all just about set there. You can see the 10 frame is there, and the flower pot work table. Get my tools that I may or may not need, depending on what we find when we open this hive. They may have drawn comb not on a frame, so I need to be prepared to move that into some empty frames that are in the 10 frame box. I've also got some rubber bands in case I need to band in some comb. We'll open these girls up here in just a minute, just getting everything prepared. Empty frame, just for banding in case we need it. Put this over here. We got some more frames for them to go into. I'm going to take most of these out to start with, and then we'll start, another empty frame. Once we start seeing what's what inside of this swarm trap, we'll start putting things back together. And if you haven't seen this before, there's another video on my channel where we moved girls out of a flowerpot swarm trap and into a deep. In fact, that particular one was probably significantly larger than this swarm. That swarm was significantly larger than this swarm. I'm not sure these girls will need a 10 frame deep, but we're going to be prepared to give it to them anyway. What I'm doing right now is taking this tape off. We just kind of tape around the center of the these are two flower pots that are taped together, screwed together. This is a good sized swarm. I can feel the weight of them. And usually I like to have an assistant help me with this. My lovely assistant is not quite ready this morning, so we wanted to get these girls before it gets too awful hot today, because we're supposed to get up near 100 degrees again today. And we're going to see, this might seem like a little bit of chaos as we're going, but in the end it'll all work out. Make too much of a mess for the bees when I'm moving them. And if I had another pair of hands, I'd probably just do this horizontally, but since I've only got two hands, this eye hook is actually holding a template that we have that my friend James and I developed and designed. We're going to go ahead and put this pin frame right into place where the bees were. And we get our first look in to see what they're doing in here. Right, so they had drawn comb inside. And we'll go ahead and take this out and give it to them, at least now, for now. We'll just set it on top of a frame. And let's go ahead and give these girls a frame or two. Go ahead and set this down into the hive, and we're just going to go ahead and knock some of these girls off. Go ahead and dump them into the hive, and I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for now. You can see it's a little bit of mass chaos. I know my back is to you, and there's a lot of bees going on in here. Here's a view into the swarm trap. You see there's a couple frames in there, and it looks like they've actually started drawing on that, and that's a good thing. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get this template out of here. And we're going to set this over here as well. This is currently upside down. They have really taken off and built some comb. There's some nectar in there. I can put up to 4 frames in here. I've only put 2 deeps in here in this one. It'll hold 2 mediums as well. But I found that doing mediums at the same time really is problematic, because then I have to come up with all kinds of different configurations to get the girls into the hive. We're going to take their frames out here that we've given them and get those into the hive. Let me see if I can maybe move to this side. And here's one of the screws holding this little wedge in that holds the frames in. Little wedge that we have holding the frames in. Go ahead and knock those girls in there, and this will let me release this frame. Very gently flip these girls over. And lots of nectar in here. And I'm going to go ahead and set this in there. And this comb, obviously they've got some that they've drawn off to the side of it, and I'll probably clear that up, but I may let them settle a little bit before I start digging into it too much. Just kind of taking a peek to see if I see the queen. Okay, let's go ahead and set this inside for now. Again, trying to be gentle, not to squish bees, which can be challenging with what we've got going on here. You can see there's a good number of bees on the frame, the template here. I'll give you a better look of this when I can get over here. Invariably, there's going to be a couple of bees that are, at least a few, that are going to pay the price of getting killed when we do this type of thing. We might be able to see where the queen is. The bees will often tell you where she's at. Okay, let's knock those
Very similar
off.
to installing a package is the way
I look at it. And again, we're just going to set this aside. And we're actually going to start building some frames in here. Again, very gently, as much as I can, and not squish the bees with frames. This is a old frame I'm probably just going to put on the outside. Let them see if they can clean this up. And the frames that were inside of the swarm trap, I'm going to push towards the center. Interesting fact, and I may show more detail on this at another time. Many times I mark my frames, and I don't know if you can see it here. There's a little arrow. Comb is directional, is one of the things I've been taught. Drawn comb or foundation is directional, is what I should say. And when I have a chance, I would like to maybe show a quick video on that. Many people don't know that. What I've heard is that orienting the plastic foundation correctly in a hive can get you up to about 30% more production when it comes to honey and building the hive out. Just deciding where I want to put what frame here. Move these girls over. And we need to clean this one frame up and knock some of their comb off. Grab a hive tool and just kind of, it's just barely hanging on. They built it right off the frame, so I'm just going to take it right off. Very easy. And take this side off. Again, it's just connected up here at the top. And this one may have touched the frame a little bit. Sorry girls, you're going to have to fix that yourself. I see people that are often worried about, destroying comb, and for in large part you don't want to destroy any comb, you don't have to. But sometimes the girls build wonky comb, even on frames. You'll see it where they
build off of a frame, and they actually build off of it and can go behind. So you'll have a two-sided comb on one side of a plastic foundation. If that happens, to me, often what I'll do is I'll, break that down, cut it off, or if depending on what's in it, I'll just smush it down into, make sure the bees are off of behind it, because you don't want to kill your queen. But take that and either cut it off or smush it down into the plastic foundation and let them fix it. They're experts at fixing comb. That's what they do. So I, as much comb as I have here, I'm letting the girls take what's left in here, and but at the same time I'm telling them, what you've got is great, but I want you to fix it for the way that it'll work within the hive, and where we don't destroy it every time we open up the hive. So even right here, I'm taking off a piece of the comb off of the foundation. And these girls are doing good. I'm gonna put another frame in here. Again, I mark, you see the arrow here, mark the foundation. And that arrow is that way, so we always point the arrow to the outside of the hive. And some of my frames aren't marked. Many of them are. These are all four of these, the ones on the end are marked, and they're all pointing that way. The fifth one here would normally be pointing that direction, but since it came out of the swarm trap, right now it's pointing this direction. So what I may do is actually go ahead and slide this frame over and make that the transitional frame from one direction to the other. Again, this is kind of a nasty comb, nasty frame. They'll clean it up. It's got a little bit of drawn comb on it. So I'm gonna let them have it, and let's see what they can do with it. I was just looking, see this one does not have an arrow on it, but we're gonna, actually I may just move it out to the edge and move this one out to the outside and let them fix it, because these ones that are here in the hive already are much better frames. They're newer, so I'd like to give them that, give them some work to do on the outside, but at the same time give them the nicer stuff towards the inside. And if I need to, I can transition this out and not feel bad about the frame if they don't ever get to fixing it or whatever. So ultimately, what we end up here with is a 10 frame hive. And that's pretty much it. All that's left now is just kind of let these girls do their thing and get acclimated to their new home. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you for today. And this has been John with Two Doves Bees and Gardens, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you're seeing and you've made it to the end of this video, please comment and say, hey, I made it to the end. And if you would, I'd love subscriptions, or at least a like, thumbs up on the video. Let me bring this over, maybe girls, maybe you can see it on the camera.